All right, our last topic of Unit 1 is going to be relatively short. We're going to be talking about regional analysis. And so by the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe different ways that geographers define regions. The first thing I want to show you is the AP Human Geography regions. This is typically only used by AP Human Geography, but you should just familiarize yourself with these regions so that when we're talking about something and I have you read an article, if it mentions South Asia, you need to be able to know that it's talking about this part of Asia and not over here where East Asia is. And so it's going to help you with your mental map and kind of understanding where those things are in space. But where we're going to spend most of our time today are on the three types of regions. Now, a region is defined as an area with common features. It's pretty simple, that's all it is. But we're going to go into detail on the three types of regions that you need to be able to identify and find examples for in AP Human Geography. So the first type of region is a formal region. And a formal region is united by one or more specified trait. So there's at least one thing that unites maybe this group of people or these cities or something like that. That trait can be an economic trait. The example given here is the European Union. They all use the same currency. It's called the euro. So that could be considered a formal region. It can be a social or cultural trait that unifies a region. Here you can see the Islamic world, so you can see the countries where the majority of its citizens practice Islam. It can also be a formal region can also be unified by a political trait. That sounds a little bit more fancy than it is. All it is like a political region. So a state, a country, a city, something with borders, that's going to be a political region. Like Louisiana, a political region. It could be classified that way. But formal regions can also be unified by an environmental trait. So an area of land that shares environmental characteristics. The example given here is this region of the Sahara Desert. So those are formal regions. Those are going to be the easiest to identify because they're pretty rigid. But the next type of region we're going to look at is a functional region. A functional region is a region organized around a central node in order to provide some sort of economic, travel, or communicative function. A functional region is what it sounds like. This region is only there because a certain function is being performed there. The two examples I've given you here are television broadcasting. So you can see the various regions where TV stations actually broadcast news coverage. I mean, there's a reason, we can't see the Dallas local news. It's because that we are not located in the region in which they're going to broadcast that. Same thing with a pizza delivery radius. There is a area of space, there's a region that different pizza restaurants are willing to deliver your pizza. And if you're not in that region, you can't get your pizza delivered. And so that could also be a functional region. A necessary part of any functional region is the flow of something across the area. And so a functional region is really solidified by the fact that it's only there because a certain function is being performed there. If TV broadcasting stations did not have certain limits to where they would broadcast, this map would not exist, these regions would not exist. That's a functional region. And so those can be a little bit more difficult to identify, but they are going to be a little bit more easy to identify than our last type of region, vernacular and perceptual regions. So vernacular regions are also called perceptual regions. They're synonymous with one another. But a vernacular region is based on someone's perspective or perception of a certain location. So it's based on a sense of place, a very informal sense of place. And the thing about vernacular regions is that they're different for everybody. This is a map showing what different people think the South is. And so if you ask random people what the South is, you would think y'all kind of have the same idea, but some people include Texas, some people don't include Texas. Some people include Missouri, some people don't include Missouri. So all of that is based on what that person feels the South is. And so that's the reason that vernacular and perceptual regions are harder to identify, is because they're different for everybody, but that's how you identify them. Regions that don't have a specific border and that are based on someone's sense of place and in their own mental map. So those are the three types of regions. Make sure that you understand those and that you can find examples for those, or you can pick out examples and then complete the types of regions website activity that is in Google Classroom.